Hey, welcome back to the channel. Now, today on the vinyl narrative, we are going to be taking a look at one of the most unique editions of vinyl that I have in my collection. It is Wolf Alice's The Clearing, but this version is the Bad World flower pressed edition. And yes, you heard that right, real flowers pressed into the vinyl. Now, a little bit of background for those of you that might not be familiar with Bad World Records. They're essentially the sister label to Blood Records. So Bad World specialises in limited time-sensitive releases, and they open what they call the Vault for 24 to 48 hours, and basically you can pre-order a record and it's pressed to run, so everything is pressed to demand. I believe there's a limit of 2 per person, and sometimes what will happen is that they'll close the vault and then they'll say that's it, there's no more that will ever be pressed. But then there's been a few occasions where they'll reopen the vault a little bit later on down the line, maybe 3 months after release, generally when the kind of replacements window is kind of run its course, and they'll put the remaining copies up on the vault for sale. But generally, if you've missed it after that vault is closed, that's it, it's gone forever. Okay, so this edition of Wolf Alice's latest album, The Clearing, this album dropped in 2025 in August, and it retails for £50 over in the UK, so it's definitely on the premium end of things. But what makes this one stand out is this is probably the first time that I've ever seen anyone, let alone Bad World, put flowers into a vinyl, and it's what they essentially call a bloom pressed vinyl, and I'll show it to you now. There we go, so there's the flowers pressed into the record itself, and what this essentially is it's not pressed into the vinyl compound, it's 2 vinyl discs, and the flowers are put in the middle with a load of, I'm assuming, resin, and then the two discs are sealed together so that there's no leakage or anything like that. And then you get this really thick, hopefully it'll come up on the camera there if I hide my face, a really thick vinyl that you can play. So yeah, there it is, really pretty, just beautiful arrangement there. And then there it is with the label on that side. But essentially that arrangement, that is unique to each edition. So, you know, what I would say is that they've kind of tried to get it so that all the flowers are kind of pressed around the centre, but then I've seen some people's copies where they've had like 4 flowers in there and not many at all, which isn't great. But this one is a really nice pressing, really nice flower pressing, and also vinyl pressing. It's probably one of the most beautiful vinyl records I've got in my collection. But you know, once you get past the kind of wow factor of the vinyl itself, the packaging is pretty much the exact same configuration as the wide release. So you get a nice booklet, which I'll just flick through very quickly here. Which, yeah, this is exactly the same as what you get on the standard vinyl releases. Just a photo shoot of the band, kind of chopped up, essentially, yeah, all those same pictures are kind of repeated again, and then you've got the lyrics and a bit of information about the band and the album itself, and you've got a nice kind of like advert there for the songs, kind of in that old style, 60s style advertising font, which is really nice. And then the other bonus that you get with this is the A2 poster. I believe it's A2. I haven't really opened this up that much, but yeah, there you go. It's a double-sided poster as well. I'm going to flip that round here so you can see it's just essentially the exact same photo that you've got in the booklet. But yeah, nice big, thick poster as well, so that's going to last a long time. So that's nice that those 2 things are included, because sometimes with like the Blood Records releases, you don't get any of the extras that you do on the wide release, and same with Bad World, is that there's been a few occasions where it's just the vinyl itself. In terms of the jacket, I assume this is the exact same jacket as the wide release as well. It's a double spine, single sleeve jacket. Yeah, really minimalist, but I do like the fact that they've taken some care and put kind of a nice red colour on the inside of the jacket, because it could have just been card, right? But yeah, they've put it as red, so that's quite nice. And it's nice and thick as well, so it's not one of those flimsy jackets, and it needs to be honest, to carry that heavy vinyl and the poster and booklet as well. So let's talk about how this vinyl actually sounds. Now, unlike the wide release, which has used eco vinyl, this hasn't been pressed to eco. This is a kind of standard clear compound of vinyl, and I think that's made all the difference, because it's very quiet, very flat. There's barely any surface noise, and I can't see any imperfections in the vinyl. So that's a really big win for me, because when I saw the band had announced the records to be coming out and they put it up for pre-order, I saw that all the editions were eco vinyl, and that's something that kind of turns me off at the moment, because I'm yet to come across a good sounding eco vinyl pressing. So I'm really happy that Blood World Records have been not friends to the environment, unfortunately, but they've gone a different way, and they've gone with the kind of standard compound. In terms of mastering, this one looks like it uses the exact same mastering as the wide release, which was done by Rare Form Mastering in the US, which is quite interesting, because it's not the same kind of mastering lab or studio that Bad World normally uses for all of their pressings, which is press on vinyl. They normally have all the lacquers cut at press on vinyl, which I believe is Bad World and Blood Records in-house mastering studio and vinyl pressing plant. So as a result, that sound on this record is very dynamic. The mids and highs come through really, really nicely on this. The soundstage is solid, but the only thing that falls short on, I'd say, is there's just not much punch in that low end at all. It's very restrained. And that kind of takes it a little bit away from some of the more rocky tracks, like the lead single Bloom Baby Bloom, that doesn't quite hit as hard as you really want it to. And also it doesn't show off the bassist Theo's fantastic bass work on this album. So that's a bit of a minus to this release. But having said that, it's not a bass heavy record. Now, musically, this album kind of sees Wolf Alice lean into a more laid back and commercial sound, I'd say, instead of those kind of huge kind of garage rock style rock tracks that they've been known for in the past. This time it feels like they're focusing more on Ellie Rousel's vocals, and they kind of take centre stage. I've seen some comparisons out there to like Fleetwood Mac, kind of that post Rumours sound, and I'd agree actually it's kind of like that. However, the standouts on this album for me would be tracks like Bloom Baby Bloom, White Horses, Bread Butter, Tea Sugar, I think it's the right way around, yeah. Bread Butter, Tea Sugar, that's a fantastic song. And The Sofa is just a lovely, lovely closer to this album. Bloom Baby Bloom in particular is a really strong single for me. It's a piano-driven, guitar hook laden killer track. And it's got, Ellie's vocals kind of centre stage again, and her performance on that track is just absolutely stunning. She really shows that her growth as a singer, and she is front and centre as the performer there. That said, there are some tracks that are just, they kind of sit firmly in the middle of the road territory for me. They're pleasant enough, but they just don't really go anywhere, which I think hurts the pacing of this album overall, especially in the middle section. You've got tracks like Passenger Seat or Play It Out, which just, they're nice in isolation, but they don't really do much for the album, to be honest, especially for me. So overall, I think I give this album, well, both the album and this edition, a 7.5 out of 10. It's a solid release, but it's not Wolf Alice's best work in their catalogue. But honestly, I think the aesthetic of this edition is kind of doing the heavy lifting in that score, if you will, because it is just, you know, visually stunning. I love this. It's definitely the prettiest record I own, and I think that alone is going to make sure that it's a keeper in my collection. But there just are, you know, the fact that there's just a lack of bass on this record, and there's a few tracks that I'm probably going to end up just skipping from now on. You know, that kind of lets the rating down a little bit. So 7.5 out of 10 is a solid rating, I think. But now I want to know what you think. So, you know, is this the most beautiful record you've ever seen in your life? Or do you think these unique pressings that are done by companies like Bad World Records justify that kind of higher end price tag or not? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to drop it a like, and please subscribe to The Vinyl Narrative for more vinyl deep dives like this. Thanks very much for watching, and keep on spinning.